My children told me I had to leave my home. They said it was time for a nursing home. I'm 84. I looked at their faces, full of love and fear, and I felt a door slam shut on my whole life. But I didn't go. I fought back, and I won. Let me tell you what happened. It started a month ago. David and Sarah sat right there on that sofa. They said words like community and facility. They said nursing home so gently, like it was a gift. I saw the pamphlets in Sarah's hands. My heart just dropped. It felt like the end. After they left, I didn't cry. I got angry. This is the house Walter and I built. He's been gone 10 years, but his roses are still out there. My kids see stairs I might fall down. I see the room where we danced. So I got Walter's old green ledger. He was an accountant. He loved numbers. On one side, I wrote what scared them: falls, loneliness, forgotten pills. On the other side, I wrote solutions. My hand shook writing the first one, stairs, and next to it, a chairlift. That was the crack in the dam. I realized I couldn't do it alone. My pride had to go. I called my grandson Leo. He's 22 and a tech wizard. I hired Miguel. His dad used to be my gardener. He's strong and kind. Then I called Clara from my book club. I was shy, but I did it. I said, Clara, I need help. She said, Eleanor, I've been waiting for you to ask. We met every Tuesday for coffee. My house became our headquarters. I had my tribe. I showed David and Sarah the ledger. I said, see, chairlift, next Tuesday. Sarah's face fell. She said, Mom, that's a Band-Aid. We're talking about your overall safety. David is a lawyer. He started talking about statistics on isolation. I felt my hope slipping. Then he patted my hand. He said, let the professionals handle it. That phrase lit a fire in me. I am the professional of my own life. The meeting was a stalemate. They said, okay, delay, but only if I passed a safety audit. It was humiliating, but it showed me what to fix. The big thing was food. Sarah always said, you're not eating enough. So Clara and I made a pact. Every Wednesday we cooked together. Big meals, lots to freeze. Miguel put in bright lights under my cabinet so I can see. Leo got me a tablet. It yells at me for pills and meals. He even set up grocery delivery. The first Wednesday we made minestrone. The kitchen was a mess. We laughed so much. Eating that soup together, it felt like living, not just surviving. Then came the silence. My kids worried I was alone too much. I didn't want bingo. Leo asked about my old job. I was a copy editor. He said, Nana, my friend's blog grammar is a disaster. Help? So Tuesdays became editing days. Clara came for story ideas. Then Miguel said his daughter needed help with college essays. My dining table got busy. The silence was gone. I had purpose again. I felt so clever, so triumphant. Then I fell. It was raining. I slipped on the wet step getting the mail. I went down hard on my hip. The pain was white hot. I lay there in the rain thinking, this is it. They were right. Panic choked me, but my phone was in my pocket. Leo had set a speed dial. My shaking finger pressed help. It called Clara. She and Miguel were here in 10 minutes. They got me up, drove me to the doctor. It was just a bad bruise, nothing broken. But I was shattered inside. I had to call my children. They came like a storm. Sarah was crying. Mom, this is what we were afraid of. David was on his phone, looking at assisted living places right in my living room. I felt everything crumbling. So I listened, really listened. I heard their fear, the dread of that midnight phone call. Then I asked them to listen. I showed them the full ledger, the chairlift invoice, the meal calendar. I showed them the blog posts I'd edited. I introduced Clara, Miguel, and Leo, my board of directors. Then I showed them my last piece. I had Miguel build a garden shed, but inside it's my office. Leo soundproofed it. I said, this is where I work. My editing business has a waiting list. I handed them a new ledger. It had a bi-weekly call from David, a Sunday video dinner with Sarah's family, my promise to wear a medical alert pendant. It wasn't my plan or theirs. It was ours. The silence then was different, thoughtful. We were negotiating a treaty. They agreed to a 6-month trial. David helped make a schedule with Miguel. Sarah helped Clara with the cooking roster. The best moment? David tried the chairlift. He rode it up and down with a big grin. He stepped off and said, "Okay, Mom, this is pretty good." That was his blessing. That was 3 months ago. The trial isn't over, but I know how it ends. I'm staying. Here's my confession. My children were right to be afraid, and I was right to fight. The answer was in the middle. Freedom now has rails, a chairlift, a pendant, a tribe. But it is freedom. If you're facing that door, get a ledger. Be honest about the problems. Then build your solutions. Your tribe is out there. Fight for the life you want, with your family right beside you. So I started with the stairs. That was the biggest, scariest problem. I called the number from an ad in the paper. A nice young man came to give me an estimate. My hands were sweating when I wrote the check for the deposit. It felt like admitting defeat. But when they installed it the next Tuesday and I wrote it up for the first time, it felt like flying, like I'd taken control back. That little victory made me brave. I looked at loneliness in the ledger. That one was harder. I'm not a joiner, but I remembered Clara from book club, who always spoke her mind. I dialed her number 3 times before I let it ring. "Clara," I said, my voice shaky. "It's Eleanor Vance. I need a general." She laughed, a big, warm sound. "I'll be there tomorrow. Put the coffee on, Commander." She laughed, a big, warm sound. "I'll be there tomorrow. Put the coffee on, Commander." And she was. She marched in, took one look at my ledger, and said, "Right, loneliness. We're declaring war on it." But you know what? The war wasn't out there. It was in here, in me. The hardest moment came weeks later, after the fall, after the doctor said I was fine. I was sitting in this chair, my hip throbbing, and David was still talking about structured environments. I looked at him, my successful son, and I just broke. I said, "David, this isn't a house. It's your father. It's the last place he knew me." My voice cracked. If I leave, I lose him all over again. He went very quiet. He finally saw it. Not a building, but a museum of our life. That's when the real talking began. That's when the real talking began. And here's what I learned, sitting here now, with my hip healed and my chairlift humming. I was wrong about what strength looked like. I thought it was stoicism, a stiff upper lip, handling everything myself, never being a burden. That wasn't strength. It was a performance for a ghost. For Walter, who loved a tidy balance sheet. For my children, who I thought needed to see an unbreakable mother. My mistake was believing that asking for help was the final curtain call. It wasn't. It was the opening scene of a whole new act. Love, I've learned, doesn't just want you safe. It wants you. My children's fear was love, yes, but it was a love that wanted to wrap me in bubble wrap and put me on a shelf where nothing could ever happen to me again, good or bad. My stubbornness was love too, a fierce, possessive love for this house, for my history, for the woman I still am. We were speaking different languages of the same desperate emotion. The breakthrough wasn't when I won the argument. It was when I stopped arguing and started translating. When I said, "This is what your fear feels like to me," like an erasure. And when I finally heard them say, "Our fear is that we'll lose you and we'll have to live in a world without your voice in it." So my advice, if you're sitting where I was, put down the weapons. Your pride is a weapon. Their pamphlets are weapons. Pick up the ledger instead. Be brutally, humiliatingly honest on the left side. I am afraid of falling. I forget my pills on Tuesdays. The silence after 4 p.m. is so loud it hurts. Then on the right side, don't just write solutions. Write invitations. I will research chairlifts becomes, "David, will you help me compare 3 models?" I need to eat better becomes, "Sarah, will you find me a good grocery delivery service and show me how it works?" You are not handing over your sovereignty. You are appointing ministers to your kingdom. You are still the queen. And to the children, the Davids and Sarahs watching this with your own hearts in your throats, your love is a gift. Your vigilance is a gift. But your parent is not a problem to be solved by professionals. They are a life to be collaborated with. Don't look at the house and see hazards. Ask them to show you the story in every squeaky board. Your audit shouldn't be a checklist of failures. It should be a blueprint for support. The goal isn't to get them to a safe place. It's to make their place safe and full of life. Install the brighter light, but stay for the soup that gets made under it. You still have time, maybe not decades, maybe not even years, but you have now, and now is enough to build something new. Freedom at this age is a different creature. It's not the wild, unbounded thing of your youth. It's a cultivated, deliberate freedom. It has guardrails and a safety net. It has a schedule and a speed dial button. But within those boundaries, it is profoundly, vibrantly real. It is the freedom to contribute, to be needed, to wake up with a purpose. It is the freedom to sit in the garden Walter planted and feel the sun, not because you're on a facility's scheduled outdoor time, but because you just felt like it. That's my story. That's my confession. The fight wasn't against my children. It was for a future that included all of us. And we found it, not in a pamphlet, but around my own kitchen table. If this story resonated with you, if you saw yourself or someone you love in it, then please do a few things for me. First, give this video a like. It tells me this conversation matters, that I'm not just shouting into the void. Then subscribe to this channel. I'm not sure what I'll talk about next. Maybe the perils of pruning Walter's roses, or the novels I'm editing, but it will be about living, not just aging. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss it. Most importantly, share this. Share it with your brother who's worried about mom. Share it with your book club friend who seems a little too quiet lately. Share it with your own children and say, "This is what I want us to talk about." Leave a comment below and tell me your story. What's the first entry you'd put in your ledger? Or, if you're a child in this situation, what's your biggest fear? Let's talk to each other down here. We can be each other's tribe. Thank you for listening, for witnessing an old woman's rebellion. It was never about just staying put. It was about staying alive. Now, go pick up your pen. Your ledger is waiting.